It is not surprising, given the arid landscape of our spiritual ancestors, the people of the book, that wells appear again and again in Scripture stories. Life and livelihood depended on wells. A well meant survival for the community, for people went there to supply themselves with their basic need and their livestock as well. But it also was a place of companionship, as people would show up at the well together with their buckets and take their turns, and while there, share stories or find comfort for their sorrows or support as they struggled with the stuff of everyday life. If you read carefully, you will see that wells are not only a place of supplying oneself and the community coming together, they are also very often the places where God is encountered. Some wells were even named after such encounters. Isaac named Rehoboth, that well, Rehoboth, which implies God has given room. Or Isaiah, who named a well the well of the mighty. And today's story tells just such a moment too. That story of Hagar, the servant who has been used and cast out into the wilderness with her child at Sarah's command, sent away because they have become inconvenient to Sarah. Hagar and her son Ishmael wander in the wilderness with a little bit to eat and one skin of water. And when the water runs out, Hagar despairs, knowing very surely she and her son shall die, her son small, yet probably first. And so she puts him a little ways away because she does not want to see his death, and cries out to God. And it is precisely then in that moment, in her deep despair, that God meets her. He comes to her in a voice that says, "Open your eyes." And that is when she sees the well. So she fills the skin and gives her son something to drink and drinks herself, and knows that God is a provisioning God. And then she names the well Bir Lahai Roy, the well of the one who lives and sees me. Now, when I was growing up, I didn't think much about water. Turn on the faucet, and there it was, faithful, anonymous, constant, endless seemingly. At our family camp in New Hampshire, there was a pipe that ran from the house straight into the lake to supply our water. So I began to think, well, water must have some sort of a source, but still that seemed sort of automatic and unending to me. Only later did we put in a well in that property, and I came to see that a well is something that's built. Somebody had to do some work and pay the price so that others might be able to drink. Wells are deeply resonant for those of us who are people of the book, as places of meeting and communion, places of memory and of promise, places where we encounter living water, places that imply a hidden depth that is beyond our immediate seeing. They remind us that faith and finances are communal things. No one person owns water, though someone might own the well. We tend wells together. We draw from wells together. we refill wells by tending to the water sources together. And that is why your stewardship committee loved the image of the well of generosity for our campaign theme this year, because we know that this church does not run on good intentions alone, though we have so many of those. That too is a blessing. It runs also on the faithful giving and support of people who have discovered that God provides for us when we lower our buckets. And time again in our lives, we lower our buckets and draw deep, and God is there. We lower our buckets into our communal life and find we are supported with a shower of cards or a meal to our door or simply a gentle hug when we need it most. In gratitude and in communion with our community, we supply generosity so that others can lower their buckets. When we give of our money, of our time, of our love, we are in effect communicating, saying, I believe that this well of generosity here in the Kennebunks matters, and it still holds important water for those who thirst. Of course, wells don't refill themselves. Aquifers can run dry, water tables drop. So too, generosity must be replenished year after year and day after day. And that is why I think that one of my jobs is simply to share with you opportunities to give. You, of course, get to decide what of these asks are in keeping with your personal generosity values and goals. Some of us participate in these set of giving opportunities and others those, but we all together support the ongoing annual work of this church, which frankly feeds and feeds again the well of generosity that we are, the aquifer that we are in the Kennebunks. So churches are places that supply that aquifer that enables others in our community to find what they need. When we are caring regularly, the groundwater is stable for others who need something. So yes, stewardship is definitely about our church budget. It's about keeping the lights on, but it's also about this pervasive well of generosity. It's about sustaining a source of grace in this community. It's about being a place of hope where people can draw again and again and again. Not just those of us in this congregation, but everyone in this community can draw from our well when they are parched. So dig deep, beloved. The water is there beneath our feet, beneath our fears, beneath our worry that there is not enough, beneath the crustiness of our habits, beneath our constant hesitation. Lower the bucket once more and let faith do some of the lifting with you, for generosity is not a drain. When we give away, we are not drained. We are instead discovering of a well of generosity within us that springs forth. Each gift, each pledge is another turn of the rope, drawing up hope, drawing up life, drawing up what is needed in our community until this well of ours overflows for anyone who needs it, spilling into God's world the love we share.